So I'm Ave. This is my pottery studio. I make ceramics for a living, and welcome to my studio tour. I don't really know what else to say for an intro, so let's get into it.
I'm gonna start with my kiln. So it is a manual kiln. It is an Amico XL, and it's a workhorse, and it's beautiful, and I love it. Named it Trinket. So, Trinket was actually gifted to me by a super amazing jewelry artist, Emmy Star. I'll put her information below. And since she wasn't using it and it was gifted to her, she decided to gift it to me. And I can't thank her enough, honestly. Over on this side, this stand I was actually going to use for shows and markets and stuff, but since that didn't happen this year, decided to use it over here until I need it again. It just holds work that is going to go in the kiln at some point. Over here is where I keep some of my shelves, and this shelf holds all of my cones, all of my gloves, other equipment, some posts, these glasses so that I can see and check on my cones. These are for welding, in case you need to know. They're welding glasses so that way I don't burn my eyes. On the top shelf, I have some abandoned projects like this thing. I was going to make like an ice cream cone and I never fired it. I mean, I should fire it someday and maybe just finish it with acrylic paint, but yeah. Oh, and a teapot that I started and never glazed because I don't know if I like it. I made that maybe 2 years ago and I'm still not sure if I ever want to finish it. Oh, anyways. Along the ledge here, I keep the cones for my firings. I just feel weird about throwing them out. Not sure why. If there are any other potters watching this, do you guys keep your cones? Do you just throw them out? I want to know. Okay, next up over here is, this is my reclaim bucket. So any projects that break or fail or whatever, like this guy, will get smashed to be recycled into this bucket. I have been filling this bucket for about 2 or 3 years, and I have yet to have to actually reclaim anything yet. And that's kind of like part of the reason why I love hand building so much. Above it is Amico's chart for underglazes. I look at this all the time. Next to it, I have just a whiteboard to write down some ideas and some of my test tiles. Over here is where I keep all of the templates that I've tried, have, you know, tested and developed over time. They are different size vessels, basically. Like this one I think is a bud vase. This one's a popular one. Attempt number 3. This one is for my steins. So I know this will be a 22-ounce mug. Anyways, yeah, so a bunch of my templates. I like to use the craft foam because they can withstand a lot of bending and manipulation and will last a really long time up against paper. And it's readily available in lots of places. And then my most favorite piece of recent equipment is a slab roller. Oh, I love them. It's a Shimpo tabletop slab roller. I do have to flatten things out a little bit before it can go through, but other than that, it's been such a time saver and I love it. Moose hangs out right there while I work. His blanket gets washed regularly, no worries. And he gets a space heater. I mean, it's supposed to be for me, but it ends up being pointed to him more often than not. And then next to the slab roller, over in this corner, I have some of my most used cookie cutters. So a lot of my work involves different shapes using cookie cutters of different sizes and types. So I'm always on the hunt for some really cute cookie cutters. And then I also started developing some stamps. Since I make D&D pottery, I started making stamps for all of the dice. Like that guy. Here's a D8. Doo-doo-doo. But yeah, that all lives over here. I really love some of the molds by GR Pottery Forms. So mostly any sort of recently used tools end up on this side of the table. This alphabet specifically, I saw on a Facebook group called Clay Buddies, and you can actually, can it focus? Look. So you can press it into the clay and then pop it out. I love this thing. I'll put a link to this below if I can still find it. Yeah. So normally after I'm done rolling something out, then I will bring it over to this table. And this is where I normally sit or stand to work. Sometimes I will put this on top for when I want to stand, and that works out great. I mean, someday I'll have a bit more of a professional layout, but for now this works great. And these wear boards are just, I think it's like a masonite type of wood, MDF. No, yeah, not masonite, MDF. And I just got them cut at Home Depot. Works out great. This, since it's my second time recording this, because I lost the footage, this is my recipe book. So in college, I was making glazes from scratch, but I also keep some of my tracing paper for drawings that I want to put on there. Just Frida Kahlo, Josephine Baker, some old underglaze transfers, and then any recipes I come across. And it's just super nice to have them in a book like this because you don't have to worry about spilling or anything like that. Here's a llama and a narwhal. But yeah, so. And then I guess, oh, you know what? These were all the things I had on my wall for my little studio space in school. But yeah. So, yeah. Here's some more underglaze transfers I haven't used in years, quite literally years. I've been doing clay for about a decade, and I graduated from college in 2014. Then I did my post-bac into 2016. So next to this table, it used to be our old dining room table. Now it is down here because I never buy very much for this studio space. I just have another little side table because I needed more room to put some slabs. And then this cart holds so many things, mostly underglazes. So in the top, I have all my brushes, different sizes, a ton of loop tools and carving tools, molding tools. This bin has my most used tools, especially this one. This one's my favorite. I've had it ever since I've started working in clay, and I've used it so much that like the oils in my hands have burnished the wood. So I don't know, it became a little bit sentimental, I guess. Favorite knife is by Dolan. Love it. But yeah, you know, I'll tape it to be a little bit more ergonomic. And I also have some of my press molds that I like to use. This is from like EcoWorks, which is a creative reuse store. Basically, it is a thrift store for art supplies. So excited to go back there sometime soon. But yeah, other than that, we have underglazes, tons of underglazes. It's like 3 layers, all different colors, and more underglaze. So yeah. On the black thing, this is just more glaze, more recent glazes, I guess. And normally I stack my clay over here, but as you can see, I have 2 boxes left, and I need to go get clay really bad. Over here, I have some of my cookie cutters. So some of my cookie cutters are in here, different kinds. A lot of them are used for ornaments. And then I have some slump molds made out of bisque, and then some other molds made out of plaster over here. This is just filled with plastic to cover my projects while I'm working on them. And then this type of foam is always super, super useful for when I'm working on delicate work, especially when I was doing sculpture. This comes in handy all the time. Then up here I have, this is like a coil gun thing, also by Shimpo. So you squeeze this part, boop, 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 and then it'll spit out the clay in whatever shape you have there. And it has a few different dyes and stuff like that, but I haven't used it in a while, but it is super fun and super nifty. Some more GR pottery form molds and some wear boards. And in here, there's just some more tools, smaller tools, and some nichrome wire. These are like thicker ones. Oh, and for whenever I eventually get to a Zodiac series, I have the entire Zodiac as cookie cutters. So someday, hopefully this year, that'll be a thing. But yeah. Oh, and then the tables I use for shows are over here. Over on this side, I have more of like my older glazes. A lot of this side is all, when I was working in terracotta, this side over here, they're all glazes for low fire. So I can't really use them for what I'm working on now, but at least for now, that's where they will live. And then over here, I have some older glazes and some mason stains, because I do want to try coloring some of my clay, since it's a white clay. So I have some mason stains ready to be used. Some abandoned projects. Maybe I'll finish these this year. There's a little peaceful blob. But that's pretty much it for this side. And then these are glazes from the Amico project that I did, or Amico takeover, sorry. From the Amico takeover, I got some glazes for doing that. Okay, speaking of glazes, this is where I glaze. And it's new. The table that you're seeing right over here, my dad built for me for my birthday. Before, I would have to clean this side of the studio, put away the wear boards, hide anything that I don't want glaze to get on, and I would glaze over here. And underneath this table is where all the buckets used to be, but now that's just Moose's side. Let me turn on the heater for him. There you go. He gets the heater. I'm sorry, buddy, I know it's cold. Oh, also to mention, along this ledge are a bunch of test tiles. Some with really old clay, like this clay I never use, but it has like the glaze codes for whatever glazes I used to layer. And some of them are super cute still, I don't know. But yeah, and then I have some in red clay over here. Ideally, I would like these all on a board of some kind, like that board over there. But that is a project for another day. Hopefully sometime soon. Back to over here. So this section's pretty new. All of this is pretty new for this year, or I should say last year, 2020. Typically, all of these wares would be in totes, and I would keep them in totes and not have a very clear idea of what do I have in stock and such. With me not doing shows and selling more online, it was very handy for me to be able to actually see all of my stock. So this is the stock that I have left after the holidays. It's mostly seconds, to be honest. Like this guy is one of many that ran. So you can see, like, look at that. I have to sand that off and then he'll be fine. but this glaze, I love it so much. But it ran a lot, so. And over here in this little corner, I have some, these are all empty, and someday before I recycle them, I want to actually break up the dried glaze and do a confetti thing. I've seen a lot of potters do that, and instead of just cleaning out the glaze, there's a lot of glaze that sticks to the edge. So if I could somehow break that up and then use it for confetti, like sprinkle the dry flakes of these glazes onto a basic glaze, I think that would look really, really cool. So that's what they're sitting there waiting for. And then I also store more boxes down here for shipping, all different sizes. Some more boxes up there too. And over here in this corner, that corner is where a lot of my show stuff is, like this crate. And all of these are glazes, all these buckets are glazes. Even those boxes are glazes that I have to mix. And then some more totes for my shows that I will do once it's safe to do them. Over here is my sink, and my dad actually found this on the side of the road and pieced it together with the workbench. So he flipped the workbench, added the sink top, and he was like, hey, do you want a sink in your basement? And I was just like, of course I do, thanks Dad. So he built that for me, and it actually operates, I guess, kind of like a toilet. There's a pump in here, so once the bucket is too full and the lever reaches a certain point, then it'll actually pump out the water, and then it joins the rest of the pipes. And one of my brothers is a plumber, so he had some help with that, and it's super awesome. Once a year, I do try to look inside to see if there's any sort of like settlement that I need to take out, because I do rinse glazes and such in here, but because it doesn't pump out regularly, I know that there's enough time for all of those things to settle towards the bottom, and then the water that's being pumped won't have the contaminants. Here's some of my glaze stuff, a lot of my glaze buckets, all the brushes I washed so that I could do this studio tour all nice for you guys. I do want to get a little bit more lighting over here because it is pretty dark. I do have an outlet situation where I don't have very many outlets, so that kind of sucks, but it's fine. It still works out okay. And this table is great because it's standing height, and I can fit a bunch of glazes over here. These are all the glazes that I must have used last time, and I started cleaning off my brushes that I used for the lusters. I can put all of these away. And I was also cleaning these bags before I recycle them. These are all the bags that clay comes in, and I keep most of them, but I realized I have too many now, so I want to start recycling some of them, but I wanted to wipe them before I drop them off to be recycled. This mask, very important. Wear that when you're doing your lusters, or this is what I wear when I'm doing my lusters or mixing glazes, because the powder is definitely something you don't want to breathe in. I think I talked about everything. Oh, and these blankets came with the Kiln, so I keep them. My dehumidifier for the summer, because it's a basement and that's important. Yeah.
So I guess that's pretty much it. So this is my basement studio space. I love it down here, but also sometimes I'm like, I wish it wasn't a basement, but that's okay. Work with what you got, right? And I am super thankful for all of the things that aligned for me and all the people in my life who have helped me get to this point. Oh, wow, it's wild to think about. Thank you so much for watching. If you want any more information about any of the things that I talked about, just leave a comment below. I'll try my best to respond to every single comment. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my studio tour. Very basement-y, but I love it. Thanks. Bye.